every ESP is probably going to claim that they've got really great inbox placement. So it's really hard to kind of take them for their word on that. And when you're going to the spam folder, you're going to look for a new provider, right? So I think note that we were just talking about IP and domain warm up and how mailbox providers are a little bit suspicious of mail that comes from like a new or an unknown area, right? So figure if you're switching providers, if you send through Mailmodo today, and then tomorrow you're going to send through Socket Labs, mailbox providers are going to say, hey, that's a new location. Did they get hacked? Is that actually them? Or is that somebody just trying to pretend to be? So I think that's, again, so anytime you're switching, consider there is going to be a little bit of a dip where your open rates are going to look a little bit worse because mailbox providers are just trying to catch up and understand what you're doing. And that's where the organization as you switch is going to be very helpful so that it's like a very intentional move that mailbox providers can start to understand very quickly. But that's, when you're trying to vet an ESP, it's very hard because again, they're all claiming that their services are great. So it's, look for, do they have first of all, do they have a privacy policy on their website? Do they have a terms and conditions that says at some point, we're going to cut you off if you're spamming? Do they even have a published list of what spamming looks like and things like that? And I think from there, there's certain ESPs in this industry that are really well known and they've got tons and tons of customers, but at this point they're kind of so large and they're not really maintaining their sender base as well. There's some issues with spam getting through or fraudsters sending or just low qualities of mail. And so I think that's where like you really need to kind of talk to a mailbox provider and you really want to talk to an ESP and figure out, like, do you care about compliance? If I were to make these bad moves, what's going to happen, right? And so I think that's something that you can sort of start to feel as you work with them. If you talk to their support team, do they have answers quickly? Are they able to help you, or are they kind of just giving you the runaround? The ones that tend to have better deliverability really do stay on top of things, right? So if you're getting the runaround, that's not a good sign for your deliverability as well. But I will say, most of deliverability, most of you hitting the inbox is not about your provider. It's about you, because at this point, figure, a lot of ESPs, including Socket Labs, we have shared IP setups, right? So we've got a bunch of different customers all sending from the same shared IPs, but they are using their own domains. And so the fact that mailbox providers are more sophisticated now and they look at domain reputation a lot more than they used to, the IP is less important, right? So I think that's where it really does come down to you, what you're doing, what your recipients or engagement look like, right? Like, are they engaging positively? Are they engaging negatively? Your provider absolutely has a part in that. So if your IP is blacklisted, for example, that's going to be really hard to deliver mail to certain places. And so that's on them to control that and to keep that pool of IPs or your dedicated IP in tip-top shape. And the email infrastructure part comes into this. I touched upon the fact that email delivery, that last mile of delivery is really complicated. And so figure there's a lot of customization, a lot of tweaking that can kind of happen there. So every ESP is a little bit different, but I think that's where very quickly, if you're having issues and you reach out to support and there's not a clear-cut answer, you might want to just kind of consider if there's an issue with quality on those pools.